Hello, hello, hello. Be awesome at facility management, listeners, followers, live stream viewers. It is one of half of the host, Joshua Peach, here today with you for episode 18, and the other half, Mr. Paul Anastasi.
Hey, everyone.
It's a Paul and Pete show today.
Yeah, the Paul and Pete show.
There's no third, fourth, or fifth tile today. This all came. We've been. I feel like we've been going 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And you and I have been like together for like a month.
Yep.
Like traveling and going to all different places and putting on podcasts, and we've done 17 episodes, and you called me yesterday, I guess, and said, "Hey, what are we doing this week?" And it was already Thursday.
That was a quick week.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I got back from Alabama at 3:00 in the morning last Thursday, or Friday morning, I guess, and it's been a whirlwind. And so, when you said that, I just kind of had this knee jerk that said, why don't we just have a podcast with me and you? Because we haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
We really haven't had a proper introduction between the two of us. It was like episode 1. I was telling everybody you were coming on board, and then we've had guests ever since. So I think this is just a me and you gab session. I got a beer. I think I saw you have a beer.
I have a beer. But I'd like to thank our sponsors, Bud Light. They're not our sponsors, right?
Unofficial sponsors. But that's not a background. Like that's a real deal. Another place.
The real deal. That's
so
in my happy place. I'm out on the front screen porch in my log cabin in the beautiful Catskill Mountains of New York.
I got it.
I got to show you that I'm flying that Red Sox flag. Sorry for any Yankees fans that are following us, but I'm here in the heart of Yankee country flying the Red Sox flag.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it. Well, let's talk about this. I mean, what do you think so far, Paul? I mean, this has been kind of crazy. You've been out of your comfort zone.
That's for sure.
Definitely been out of your comfort zone for 17 out of the 17 episodes. We've moved at a kind of an alarming rate. And we're going to get into something I did, my knee jerk fundraiser for 2 days. And you said, you just kind of stopped and you're like, dude, did you do anything where it's easy?
You plan it out for like a week?
Yeah. Do you give yourself or anybody around you for that matter a chance to actually think or plan something? So, how are you feeling about all this?
I'm loving it. I looking back at our list of episodes, and I can't believe that we've met and talked with all these people over the course of how many months has it been?
I think we launched our first episode. Was it February?
Cold and snow, right? I remember talking cold and snow.
I think it was our first episode was with a person, was Aaron Polanski, I believe. Yep. It was, right? Yep. And that was preparing for the 31 inches of snow. Was that preparing for the 31-inch storm? Because that would have been.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, you were well planned and putting in your generator.
That's right.
When the snow started falling, so that
still sitting outside.
Well planned out events.
Yep, it was the Chris Martinetti put the plug in at like 3:00 in the afternoon, and it started snowing at like 9:00 that night.
Right, we were recording the episode, and he was banging and making noise down below.
Perfectly laid out. It was like January 25th, 26th. So we're in 4 months. We've consecutively done at least one episode a week. We've been together. You and I have been to at least 3 or 4 states.
Yep.
Ohio, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and a couple of events in Massachusetts in person that I know of.
And we've met some interesting people. I mean, I know you've been on the road a lot longer than I have in your career in what you do, but I think it's amazing looking back and the personalities and the awesome people that we've had on and met in our travels. I mean, even when we weren't broadcasting, stopping, to have a beer together in the afternoon in where was it? Sanbornville, New Hampshire.
Yep.
We meet the bartender, and she's been there for 40 years, and she had a story, and it's like, wow, we should be broadcasting from here.
We've definitely made a mark for making friends. One of the things, I don't know if we talked about this on an episode yet, but was our when we talk about you, we call you creation. and how that makes people's days, and how people. I've been doing more of it.
Yep.
But that Paul and I drove up to Conway, New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, and we're just talking the whole ride, talking about memories and experiences and life stories. And every time we talked about someone in the truck, I go, hey, let's call them. And so we pick up the phone and we call them. We'd be like, hey, we were just talking about you. Most of it was good. And it really put a smile on everybody's face that we talked to.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Our old friend Skip Bandini, former facilities director in the city of Waltham, was like beside himself that we called him at 8:30 at night and surprised him with a phone call while we're driving to North Conway. He sent us text after that, thanking us, making his night. We made his night. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, it's been, like you say, the people are awesome. And the people, I mean, when we're talking about people, they're people that are in our world, in the facilities world, in the school world. And they really are. They're just everybody. You can't put a finger on a favorite, right? No, when you think about it. I had someone ask me the other day, and we'll talk about how we're doing rating wise. But I had someone ask me the other day, they said, what's your favorite episode? Because they wanted to get into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really don't have one. I really don't. I mean, I sit here and I think about the first episode with Aaron when he pulled up the clipboard that said rapport before reports.
Right.
How cool was that? And then you think about Fred from Equitable talking about a holistic approach to preparing for retirement. Never heard anybody that's in the finance world talk about, caring about someone's feelings to determine how they should invest for their future and for their retirement and for their family's future. I mean, there's just like every episode's just got all these little cool nuggets and awesome things to it. So,
and I think in our travels over the years together, you and I, we've ran into all of these awesome people, and now we're just recording it.
Right.
Well, now we're making a story out of them that's on tape forever now.
Yeah, I mean we're sharing our life with others so that hopefully more people can understand what a great community this is. Even Glenn Miller, who is in New Jersey, and he's putting in the text that boo, go Yankees. So I think the Red Sox flag got to Glenn. Thanks for coming on, Glenn.
That's good. At least we know he's watching.
Yeah, at least we know. Hey, sometimes what is it? Sometimes negative attention is still attention. So
that's right. You got to do things so we know people are there, and now we know Glenn's there.
Shaking some things, just shaking some trees, making things happen.
How about the email that we got from Matt Oliver last week from New Hampshire?
Yeah. Matt, if you're listening, I've got your T-shirt. I've got it ordered. We'll get it out to you here soon. But yeah, he
went back and watched all the back episodes, and just couldn't say enough nice things about it, and emailed to us. He wrote a rating and review. He did a 5-star rating and review, and I had asked him to reach out to us because I thought I knew who it was, because it was M. Oliver for his review. Yeah.
But yeah, very amazing email, very heartfelt, and that stuff is what makes you keep going, right?
Right.
That keeps you from actually retiring.
Yeah, right. Someday I will retire.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I mean, I until we started doing this, it was just stories that we told with each other.
Right.
With our close circle of friends, out for a beer with Ken Wirtz and you and I, and recanting stories. But now the hat that I'm wearing, I'm not sure if you recognize the hat, but it's near and dear to my heart. It has a special story about us.
Okay.
It goes back to a conference that we were at in Myrtle Beach years ago.
Okay.
And it had a farming theme.
Was that the night of the stolen donkey?
The donkey story.
Oh yeah.
Well, this hat this hat was handed out as a gift at the conference.
Was it really?
For the banquet night. Everyone got a hat as they walked in the banquet, and I kept it and brought it home, and it's here. Yeah. I keep it here, and I use it when I'm out cutting the lawn and I'm out in the sun to try and keep the sun off my face and my neck. But that was a phenomenal story. We may or may not have stolen a donkey. It wasn't alive.
Well, it was first of all, it was Taylor. It was the girls. The girls won. That was the kicker.
And we did we recreated the scene from The Godfather.
Yeah.
with the instead of a horse's head in the bed, it was the donkey in the bed. And I think back and I remember someone saying, I can't believe why would you take the donkey from the setup and bring it and put it in someone's bed? And my response at the time was, because the horse wouldn't fit in the elevator.
That's right. There was a setting in this conference was like, it was the OK Corral, and it was all life-sized animals. And we were at dinner, and it was like 10 of us, and we had this competition to see who could steal the donkey. And I ended up having to bring the donkey back the next day because I lost entirely. And so that had to have been one of the worst and funniest experiences, because I'm carrying a life-sized, I don't know, it was made out of resin or something. I mean, it was heavy.
Yeah.
Andy Townsend had the back end of it. I had the front end of it. And the president of our company, Lee Prevost, was literally walking through the parking lot, like all proper, button-down shirt, nice press. I think he had like an over-the-shoulder briefcase type of thing, ready to do serious work. And here we are bringing this donkey back. And he just looked at us and was like, I don't even know what to say, so I'm not going to say anything. I said, we're putting it back. It was unharmed. No artificial donkeys were hurt in this act of ridiculousness.
I remember the call come in. Taylor called us and said, now come and get this donkey out of the room. and everybody was like looking at each other saying, okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to bring the donkey. How are we going to get? And I said, no one's going to get in trouble for returning the donkey.
Oh yeah. This is bringing. So this is popping up all sorts of. We're actually getting the comments. So first of all, Scott Carpenter, you're absolutely incorrect. The Hurricanes are not going to win. It's black and gold, and Matt Smith, the Celtics are sidestepped that. Look,
look what I caused with the Red Sox flag.
Look at what's going on in Boston right now, right? Where you got two teams in the playoffs. We got Fenway open for business. And we want to make things entertaining. I mean, we queue up the duck boats more than just about anybody. So we can talk about anything. The Celtics did look terrible the other night. Was last night, Wednesday night. So hopefully they do a little bit better tonight.
I want to know about Sharon's comment here that says there was a similar incident with the javelina in Arizona.
I just found the painting. I bought a painting.
I haven't heard that story yet.
Yeah. This was in.
I hate when I miss out.
Yeah, so this is like 2012, something like that. And Arizona as well has this unbelievable summer conference in Tucson at the JW Marriott. And it's just, it's one of those places that you look at and you just think it's too perfect. Like every blade of grass just is perfect. They're just a beautiful setting, unbelievable people, gracious hosts. I was invited to a board dinner. And there was this big wall of glass that looks out onto the golf course. And so they got javelina are all over the place down there. And javelina, for those people that don't know, they look like pigs, but they're classified as a rodent. So they look almost like wild boars in a way. And there was a couple of them out in the fairway of the golf course. I'm like, I want to go out and pet one of those things. So a couple of other things before I go forward with the story. They can run up to like 30 miles an hour. They have a vertical leap of about 6 feet. Apparently, I think they're blind for the most part. Like they don't have good vision, and they leave you alone unless they feel that their babies are at risk.
And you, in your great shape, thought that you could catch them and jump high.
Yeah, and they've got legit incisors, like teeth that will rip you apart. But I had everything working for me. They didn't have good eyesight. There's two grown ones just hanging out there. I figured worst case scenario, I go over, they'd walk away or something. And so I walk out. Everybody's watching me from the restaurant. I go out there. It's like 100 degrees. I go over a wall, get into the fairway, and I see these two javelina. And I look over to the left, and I'm like, oh no. And there's a nest of babies. And this was the parents. And so
they're pretty docile unless they have little ones around.
Yeah. So no sooner than I say, oh, you know what? I take my phone and I take a picture over my shoulder. I've got it somewhere. I'll put it on the LinkedIn and Facebook page. I turn around, I take a picture of the thing just staring me down, and I take off running, and the thing chases after me, and everybody in the hotel is laughing at me. So I made it. I got away, and the next day I went and I found this. I just found this the other day, so it's amazing that Sharon brought it up because it's been gone. So I had this painting of these baby javelina under the bush taken, so I brought it home and kept it on my desk for a while. But yeah, no, that was a good one.
Yeah. We've had a lot of good times, but getting back to the podcast, I mean, we're just telling the stories now and meeting those awesome people and bringing them to the forefront. I mean, one of my favorites was the episode with Nona and her telling the story about taking 3 buses to get to work.
Yeah,
it's like, and in this day and age, people are all working from home. People aren't even getting dressed to go to work anymore, and she was taking 3 buses to get to work.
No, you and I have talked offline multiple times, and I have said emphatically, I have had some careers that I've had the opportunity to love what I was doing, and I would have had a challenge with some of the stuff that she shared, and saying, would I have had that intestinal fortitude? I've had it very good. I've had it very easy, and now that I've flown, 1 million miles on multiple airlines, I have it even easier. Like I don't need to take 3 buses, right? It's like, but I don't know that I would be able to do it.
She smiled for the whole episode,
whole time.
So everything we talked about and what she did and how she went to work and the jobs that she held, and she just sat there and smiled. She was just loving life.
Yeah. I love Z. He said, I've never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually enjoying being stuck in traffic on 128 right now, listening to you guys. Great stuff. So he's probably on his way to the pizza shop.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
So what's he doing? He's doing 128 from Salem down to Utah. He's in Watertown, right?
He's Belmont. Yeah.
Belmont.
He's going to Belmont. Yeah.
Oh man. Z, we're not going to be on for the whole trip if you just started.
We'll be done before you get there. Sorry about that. And then Kenny Wirtz brings back the sign that said, it said no hooting, no hollering, no cussing. That ended up in the room at the same time as the donkey.
Yeah. There's been a number of signs, God. We could do episodes on stories, and it would just be funny.
Yep.
So
many stories. We've had, I mean, such a diverse group of people from the facilities world. But JP Mayo, you don't get a better person than JP, right? Talking about cleaning, and I said it in the episode, and I'll say it again. He's one of those vendors that he never. It's not about the selling. His first statement is, "How can I help?"
Right.
What's the problem, and how can I help you?
Yeah, imagine that. Just imagine the idea of a, and he's a salesperson. I mean, and one of the things with JP is he's just an awesome human. Like he's he's a great guy. When I did that keynote in New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, and we had it in that open space where the vendors were, I went over to him because the vendors were, I had to try to shut them down a little bit.
Yep.
So and I went over him. I says, "Were you the one in the back making all the noise?" He goes, "No, I was back here trying to shut everybody up. I wanted them all to listen to you." And he's listened to me before, and he's like, "I wanted to hear it again."
Yep.
But I mean, he is he's someone that other companies should look at that are in any business of providing a service. They should start to look at it like it's a solution and start going, how can I help? So that's Mr. Kenny's on. He was, do you want a doodle? And then he says JP is the only other salesperson that has never tried to sell anything besides Josh. Yeah, no, it's amazing how much people buy when you don't try to sell them anything. Especially in this industry. Especially when you become, an expert in understanding your pains, and JP definitely does that, and he got the point across. That was. Didn't he just had surgery? Didn't he just have hip surgery?
Hip replacement, yeah. Hip replacement.
Yep. No, that was that was definitely a good one. They were all Greg Lookabout. I mean, powerful.
Yep. He's got a message, man. He's amazing when he speaks, and And that was when you guys were at the Texas ASBO, right? When you recorded
Yeah,
that one?
next to the Bass Pro Shops, just outside the DFW airport.
We'd
Rushed
like to,
back to
we'd
the
like to
room.
thank our sponsor, Bass Pro Shop. Oh, they're not our sponsor either.
That's where I was there this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went fishing this morning.
How'd that work out with the little man?
Not well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
who has a shorter attention span, you or him.
Chance teaches me so much about people and how simple you need to carry yourself to make a
Yep.
difference. He had like a Diego vest that his 15-year-old brother had when he was 4. He had his fishing rod and he had his Red Sox hat on, and he was strutting through the Ames estate, which is where we went. They got a pond there. They're going to have a fishing derby tomorrow. So I figured it was stocked up pretty good. And he's just walking. And this older woman, as we're walking, she goes, I can hear her. She's saying to her friend, I've never seen someone walk with such confidence. And as soon as they got within the earshot, he just goes, good afternoon. My name's Chance. And they looked at him and he goes, I hope you have a nice day. And they were like, you just made our day. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Let's go fishing. It's like, and I just kind of brushed it off.
You better get the election signs ready for the front.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 100%. We actually stopped. So we stopped at our historical society in town, which is, I live in a town that has multiple H.H. Richardson architecture buildings. I think we have 7 or 8, which is more than any single community. And that's where Unity Church in Boston, that's an H.H. Richardson design building or church. And so one of them is the old train station, which is the historical society. So I took Chance in there. I said, dude, don't touch anything, touch nothing. And Frank Menino, who is one of our local historians, who actually worked with my grandfather in this place called Brockton Tool back in the 70s and 80s. He was there, and he says, I got to show you something. And they've got the prototype. It was given to the Historical Society, the prototype Morse car from 1899, sitting in the train station.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he says, this car was built in the building that your grandfather and I worked in.
Wow.
And really cool, really powerful stuff. And Chance chilled out in there, but he ran the room. I'm pretty sure that he could have driven off with the thing if he wanted to. He's just a piece of work.
But, and he might soon. He just can't reach the pedals yet.
Drives a golf cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drives a golf cart. Yeah, and he's driving the balance bike like nobody's business. So yeah, no, but no, so we got to figure.
How about the episode, the prime rib episode? We went back to the scene. we did an episode with Keith Golay from New Jersey ASBO, and then what was it? A week later, we were there. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that was
into the scene.
Keith is so it's tough for you to see Keith on the video like we're doing right now. And he's like 6'5", 6'6". He's a big dude.
Very big presence. Yep.
A very big presence. But he is just one of the most genuine, kindest, nicest people you'll ever meet. And his entire membership, the state of New Jersey, I've been talking to him ever since we left. We've been talking to hundreds of their schools since March. I feel like I'm talking to 5 or 6 of them a day. And they're just such great people. I was just talking to one of the schools, of Eric, who I've known almost as long as Keith, 1998, 99. It's one of, I think, 2 or 3 schools in the entire country that their entire district, all of the students are autistic.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing facility, and what they accomplish and what they do is extraordinary. And the space is like, I told them we're going to do a tour, so we've got to figure this road tour out next for our trips where we're going to go next. But yeah,
and it's actually happened twice. We spoke with Keith, and then we went to New Jersey.
Yep.
And then we spoke with Jim from Ohio, right?
Yep.
And we went to Ohio.
Yeah.
Shortly after.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to listen to them talk about their organizations and then see it in action.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, OASBO was just phenomenal. It's I don't know how many attendees did they have.
Well, I think there was 1,500 total. They take up
Yeah,
half of the
and
convention center.
and they do it without breaking a sweat. I mean, I really, you know, can't say enough good things about the Ohio people out there that are running those events. It's
Yeah, and
amazing.
and you want to know what's funny is they never actually, like, it's not like it's a set it and forget it environment. They're always challenging themselves to raise the bar, to do things differently, to do a different type of event, to change the schedule up. The event was barely over, and I've already had one meeting with Jim and some other vendors to start planning and start looking at different considerations and things. Like, they just don't wait. But yeah, their planning and their execution is amazing.
Yep.
So
And then back to New Jersey. I mean, they hold their event in the casino at Harrah's, and it's
yeah,
just there's something for everybody there.
yeah.
You can eat, you can sit down and relax, you can have a beer, you can have a sandwich, you can have a formal meal, you can gamble if you want to gamble. It's just so well put together, and all that there's music the first night and the cocktail hour when everybody's coming in and to
Oh,
meet
the
everybody.
welcome, the red carpet that's rolled out to welcome everybody.
Yep.
But what's amazing with what's amazing to these events, because there's events that I go to that you don't see a lot of people in the seats, in
Right.
the classes. And my classes in New Jersey were standing room only.
Yep.
And I wasn't home for 5 minutes, and I'm getting pinged asking for the certificates of credit for their classes. And I didn't give it to them. New Jersey does, but they were just ecstatic and just excited and getting their education on, which was fantastic. Because you don't always see that. Yeah, Kenny, we do need to speak in Hawaii. I think you were supposed, wasn't Kenny supposed to speak in Hawaii? Did he?
I thought Kenny was supposed to set us up so we all got to speak in Hawaii.
I thought he was supposed to go last November. Maybe it was COVID. Maybe COVID canceled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be it.
Yeah. To get a reschedule and get us on the
Yeah.
books.
Get us all to Hawaii. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I think it's. I got to look at my map, but Hawaii, North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, I think are the only states that I haven't been to. I think I've been to all the others.
Yeah.
So.
And then you spoke about Fred and the holistic view and the
Yep.
The investment stuff that
Yep.
was taking us out of our facilities world, because facilities people need all that.
Yep.
But there was also Smart Buildings Academy, talking
Yep.
to Phil Zito and all that stuff that they're doing. It's like, man, where have you been? I never knew this was out there, and it's something that our industry needs and just drives on.
Well, it's like it's been a huge gap, though. Like, if you look back, you and I 20 years ago,
Yep.
to any event USA, it was wrench turning, it was HVAC controls. There weren't people talking about budgets. There weren't people talking about the importance of understanding retirement,
Yep.
going beyond your pension. It wasn't talking about the importance of customer service, communication, teamwork, working with the business officer, with awesome people like Avery,
Yep.
phenomenal people like Sharon's members down in Connecticut. How important that is. It was all about the industry, and it was because most of the industry, as far as leaders were concerned, they started turning wrenches or pushing brooms, and they worked their way up into the facility director role, did it for a few years and retired. And now we have people coming fresh off the streets, educating, going through college, going through something else, coming from private sector. And there's a whole myriad of work that needs to be done by a facility professional that isn't on your typical workload list.
Right.
And what's even more than that is, I don't know a director of facilities or facilities leader in an education that would ever say that's not my job.
Right.
Right. They would never. They just wouldn't. And their staff doesn't.
It's all your job. It's like we do it, and then we go back and say, "Hey, was I supposed to do that?"
Yeah. Was that on my list? I don't think it was.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one thing that I did not do when I worked as a facilities director in Watertown. We did a construction project, and they put a gate in the building was alongside of one of the cemeteries in Watertown, and we put a building, an addition on the building, and we added a gate that was up by the cemetery. So when parents came to pick up their kids in the afternoon, some parents would park in the cemetery and wait for the kids because it was off the street. It got the car off the street. And it was a safe place. I had a resident call me and said that she didn't like the idea that there were kids and parents hanging around the grave of her mom, and she wanted me to relocate her mom's grave. What? So I went to the superintendent and said, "No, that's not my job. That's where I have to draw the line. I haven't said no to anything.
Yeah,
but relocating someone's grave, I'm sure that's not anywhere in my job description."
Well, I know I've told you this story, and it goes to the, my belief that the fabric of any community in the United States starts at the school district. That is a community. It is a community center.
Yep.
It needs to be treated as a number of different things as far as a community center. Just because you're a taxpayer doesn't mean you should be able to have the space anytime you want it. But there is, think about all the different events that you have there. And in Alaska, they actually hold funerals in school buildings and birthday parties and all, because they don't have any spaces or anything like that. So when you said moving the body, I'm sitting there because in some places in Canada, the body stays outside because it's wintertime, and then they bring it in for the service. I mean, it's to most people that I talk to here, when I tell them these stories, they're like, "No way!" I said, "Go to Alaska, check it out," because you can go to some of these villages and some of these communities, and the only thing they have that is a community-based place is the school. It's either Tinana or Nenana, Alaska. One's a river and one's a community, but the entire town, their school district, their high school's got 225 students, and they just about all get bussed in, and they live in a dormitory in high school.
Wow!
And they teach the kids. They've got all sorts of. They have a technical program, but it's beyond electrician, carpentry. They actually teach how to fly airplanes because everybody flies planes.
Everybody flies there. They have them in their driveways like a car.
Yeah. Yeah. So the entire community is like 400 people, I think. Carl Horn was the business official there. They've got one liquor store. It's attached to the one bar / restaurant, Moochers, which is awesome. And then they've got a community supermarket / taxidermist / gun and fish and gun store and something else I can't remember. But they have it all right in that one store, and then that's it. Otherwise, it's the school or the church that does it. It's. I mean, you guys do a lot of schools.
We went in Watertown once. We delved into the funeral rental business once.
Yep.
And it was a family that had come over from India, and they wanted to do their funeral in our auditorium in our middle school. And we didn't know. I'm not sure if it's the Indian culture across the board or just this group of people, but we didn't know that incense was part of it.
Yep.
It raised holy hell with the smoke detectors.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of the funeral, the incense had burned and gone up, and alarms were ringing, fire department coming in, and it kind of broke the mood of the funeral a bit.
Yeah, well, I would say so.
We decided not to do the funeral thing anymore.
Yeah, check funeral off. We tried it; it's off. No more.
Didn't work out well.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next thing. And then how about we were talking NASCAR with Avery, right, in Talladega recently. I mean, there are so many people that our little facilities world in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
they're basically the same. Some are a little bit more rural than others, but other than that, but to work in a school district in a NASCAR community where the population swells, twice a year, like
hundreds of thousands
of people.
And by the way, one of the times that it swells by 300,000+ is like the third week of school,
right?
Because it's like the third of last week of September. So I mean, that's there's probably a lot of good reason why Avery has been there his whole career, and his staff has been there because they're used to it. I don't know if somebody came in today,
right,
how they would handle the shell shock of
it'd be race time. And so I'd like to thank Tony Stewart Racing for being a sponsor. Oh no, he's not a sponsor either. Huh?
Yeah.
But if any of those people are listening, we'll take their sponsorship.
Well, I told you, you know, we've had a couple of people reach out about sponsoring our podcast early on, and I think it's probably because of our track record. I think that, you know, there's been a lot of people that have followed along with a lot of what we've done prior to the podcast and prior to this that know us, and our social media presence. Well, yours anyway, they pay a lot of attention to, because they know that your 60 connections are like solid, like dedicated, have the loyalty of a NASCAR fan. Yeah. Whatever you talk about. But what's really cool, I don't know if I told you this or if you saw it, I posted about it, but we have made and broken the top 10% of all podcasts.
Wow.
So in 17 episodes, yep. Listen notes.
You say all podcasts. What does that mean numbers wise? It's 6.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not that many. It's like 3 million channels. So out of 3 million channels, out of 3 million channels, we're in the top 300,000.
Wow.
So that's pretty solid. You know, I think that's a pretty good start for us. I'm really proud of it. I didn't see us getting rated for listens, you know, so quickly. One of our episodes, I think it was 3-4 weeks ago, I can't remember what episode it was, had like 1,100 downloads in one day.
Wow.
Like that was pretty cool.
That's been a slow news day.
very slow news day. Yeah, the TV was out. The only thing that was actually on was our podcast channel, and it was either podcast channel or nothing.
Perfect. Works for us.
But I thought that was pretty cool. So now we've got to get to, you know, what's next. You know, what are we going to do? You know, who do we want to have? And, you know, this is definitely for our listeners, because we have such great feedback. And thank you, Andrew. Sorry, we didn't get to say thank you for joining before you jumped off. But, you know, to our listeners, what do you want to learn about? What do you want us to have as guests? We're going to have, I'm way overdue in getting Dean Jenkins on, who is the assistant police chief or deputy police chief for the Boston Housing Authority. And he's got a lot of insight on working with school resource officers, the importance of having school resource officers. That's one of the topics. We definitely want to delve into some more of the safety and security aspects, because that's something that's got to get covered. Paul and I have talked.
We got to get our old friend Bobby B on, and you know, pick his brain with some of that old world knowledge that's going out the door these days. The more everybody retires, they're taking a wealth of knowledge out with them. And Bob's been doing it longer than anyone I know, and going out the door just takes a whole bunch out with it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's all the little stuff again. Like with him, he came to New Hampshire. He was a guest for the day, and he's never one to be, you know, reserved or hold back. And you know, he held court before he left with a bunch of vendors. You know, the challenge is, and this is it's whenever I talk to sales teams and tell them my thoughts and ideas and what works. And Bob was, you know, he was telling him, he's like, here's what I do. Here's how I show appreciation. Here's how I make myself available. Here's what I have on my signature line. How many salespeople today don't have their name on their voicemail, don't have their phone number on their email? Like, that's Bush League, man.
Right.
Like when you've had my cell phone number since 2004.
Yep.
And that's it. You don't have any other number. It's, I need Josh. I call his cell phone. If he doesn't answer the first time, it's emergency. I call him the second time because he knows it's an emergency. You better answer the phone.
Right.
And that's what I tell my clients. If you can't wait, I will walk out of a meeting. I will walk out of whatever I have to, unless it's Amy and, you know, in the delivery room, or I'm incapacitated in the hospital. If I can call you, I'll call you. I've called people from the bathroom of an airplane before, you know, to make sure that everything's good. And, you know, we tell people that, and, you know, it's the hard part is getting them to listen. Bring them to water, but to get them to listen, because Bogey does a lot. Bogey does a lot of things. One of the things that he does right is he shows the gratitude and the work ethic and the dynamic to get people, to support what he does and to come on board with him. I think they're naming a bench or something after him and rent them. So he's coming down. Yeah, he's coming down, I think, in a couple weeks. If he's listening, I'd love for him to tell us when that is. But yeah, no, we got Bogey, Bob Berry. We've got Dean Jenkins. But, for the listeners, email Paul and I, Paul or Josh or both of us. It's either Paul at Be Awesome or Josh at Be Awesome. Tell us what you like. We've got a deep network of folks to have on the call. If there's technology you want to learn about, if there's products you want to learn about, if there's a specific topic you want us to talk about, if you want us to just drink beer and talk like this we're doing today just for this one episode, we're happy to do it. But definitely want to make sure we put some horsepower behind the things that you guys want to hear too, not just the things that we think you want to hear. While we're really successful at it right now, we want to make sure we continue our ideas.
And we have a few episodes, a few guests that we need to go back to when we were in Mass and talk to the newbies.
We got to do a follow up with those guys.
People, we want to give them some time, get their feet wet in their job, and get their feet under them, and then go back and talk to them again and see how the experience has changed and what's good and how it's working for them, down the line. Yeah,
no, I think that's a big one. I think that definitely a semi-annual check-in with some of the newbies. I'd love to have some more newbies. I'm hoping I got to get with Howie to see if they're going to have me back for lecturing at Wentworth, but I'd love to have some students.
Yeah.
Some students that are getting into it. Why are you getting into it? So
yeah, why are you taking these courses and going down the line? On Mass Maritime, they have a great course for facilities management. Oh, Z, if you're still on the line, we're gonna hook you into one of these episodes. So
oh yeah, no,
I'm not sure if you must be still sitting in traffic if you're on 128.
Oh yeah, yeah. For those of you that don't know about 128, it's one of the thoroughfares that and Z's driving from Salem to Belmont, so there's no easy way to go.
You can't get there from here.
Yeah, you can't get there from here, and there's no back roads, by roads, or side roads. It's just one road, and it's 128, and it's a disaster. So don't type if you're driving, Z. I'm assuming that you were in a rest area or something when you typed that, or you were sitting in completely stopped traffic with the park on. So, but no, this was fun, Paul. I wanted to just get some time with you. I mean, we've had tons of time with you and I, but we've been so consumed with everything else in the world that we didn't just get we haven't really talked about how we're feeling about the podcast. It's just been, let's get the next one. Let's get the next one. Let's get the next one.
It's been, for me, it's been a new experience. I know you've been doing it a long time, but it's been a new experience, and I think it's been great, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. I mean, earlier today I was splitting wood out there in the great, Catskill Mountains, and here I am now talking to you in the world. It's a great change. I think it really, I enjoy what we do here. I really do.
I do too. And it's just the beginning. And, I mean, I can't thank our listeners and our followers enough. I mean, we've been in multiple situations where I was wearing, my Be Awesome jumpsuit or Be Awesome shirt. And, people come up and they go, I love your podcast. I love what you're doing. We didn't even know who they were. Yep. So, we're really hitting the mark with a lot of our audience. And they're listening, like you say, like Matt, he went back. I mean, we're at episode 17. That means, if you want to listen to all 18 episodes after this one, it's almost a full day. It's almost 20 hours of content. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in.
He binged our episodes.
Yeah. Or he was traveling with Z and it was like two commutes.
No, 128. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up, Paul. It's 5 o'clock. People are probably jumping off, getting ready to go. I'm going to close it out with the raffle. They could do the raffle because that's what probably a lot of people are waiting for. We got 224 names. Some written more than others. For those that don't know, actually, most people don't know this. That's the fascinating piece to this. Today is a very, very special day for me and my family. My family migrated here from Madeira 56 years ago today, Friday the 13th. It was actually a Friday the 13th, 56 years ago, May 13th, 1966. And I've mentioned my grandfather a couple of times, Manuel Pedro. And he came here and he worked as a shoe mold polisher for 25 plus years. He only called in sick one day, and that was the day that he got his American citizenship. And the one thing that he did every morning, the first thing he did every morning was raise his American flag. And the last thing he did every night when the sun went down was he lowered it, and had a great pride of being an American citizen. And it was his life's goal, never went past, I think, the third grade. His life's goal was to give opportunity for future generations, for his son and daughter and his son and daughter's son and daughters, and et cetera, et cetera. And he finished his life as a custodian, and he made himself a skilled laborer. He fixed things and built chicken coops and did all sorts of stuff. And he passed away almost 22 years ago. And it never got to really say thank you to him the way that I wanted to. And so, or the way that he deserved, that I thought he deserved. So I've started to do some things, and I've brought my family in to do some of these things as well. And a year ago, my mother and two of my cousins and I came together and took a collection, private collection of $1,000, and gave a $1,000 scholarship to a student at Blue Hills Technical High School, which it's a skilled career school. They teach students how to become electricians and carpenters and nurses and food service and all of our service workers, which we're wildly under staffed for and really in need for. I just had my air conditioning repaired. I don't even want to tell you how much it cost. So this year we came together and put $2,000 to two $1,000 scholarships, and there were 56 applicants. And when we went through it, there were three that I couldn't get to two. There was three. And so I called my friend Chris Mills at Shoveltown Flag. I was venting to him, saying, this is just crazy. All 56 deserve, but the three, I can't get past the three. I can't choose two. And so he gave me one of his flags, they're just amazing. So this is it. You can see some of it, or all of it. Back it up a little bit. It says, "God bless America." It's made with this wood came from a pole barn in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, all handmade. And he said, "Do whatever you want with it. See if you can raise some money." So I sent an email out when I sent it, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Tuesday night, and told a little bit about my grandfather. And I sent the email out to a whole bunch of people I didn't mean to send it out to, which that was entertaining in itself. But I sent it out to, a couple handfuls of my friends and family and people that are in the industry. And we raised $1,120. And so it was $5. The email was, donate $5. Every $5 goes to a ticket with your name on it. And we raised $1,120. So we're going to give a third $1,000 scholarship to a worthy student at Blue Hills Tech Regional. And I'm going to start a 501c3 my grandfather's honor, so that we can do this moving forward and do it even bigger. So that's going to be the raffle. And I'm going to selfishly this week, the unsung hero, I'm going to make my grandfather. I think it's only fitting. Being 56 years that he packed one suitcase and came here and gave me the opportunity, and now he's giving other people opportunity in the industry. I think it's only fitting to honor my grandfather and make him the unsung hero this week. So I hope that's okay. We don't have any rules, but I just kind of made them up as I went along.
You can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. So what we're going to do, I'm going to mix up these names here. I'm going to pull one. We'll do it live right here. So I don't want to see any of the. So I'm going to pull the names. One of the name. I'm shaking it up nice. All right. Well, and the winner is Keith J., which is Keith Jones. There were three Keiths that won. Keith is in Texas. He works with me at Alpha. Keith Watkins was the other Keith, and Keith Gourlay was the other Keith. That Keith took up 25% of the names in the, or the 25%, I think, of the total tickets. We had people that gave $5 up to $100 to get us there. So Keith Jones, congratulations on winning the flag. We'll get it in the mail to you. And I think this was a great episode, Paul. I'm looking forward to next week. We'll have a guest. I don't know where the hell you're going to be. You're gonna have to buy a place. I think you're gonna need the real estate market to turn a little bit. I think you need to buy another place because you're running out of places to hide on me.
Yeah, they'll find me sooner or later.
Yep. Well, this is great. I appreciate you giving some time and taking away from your wood cutting extravaganza up there. And I will see you virtually next week, or maybe I'll see you in person. Who knows? Some crazier things have happened. So
yeah, we got to do that soon. Me, you, and Kenny. We need an afternoon out.
Yes. Well, we can try and work on that. Maybe we'll try and figure that out for next week.
Absolutely.
We got a couple of opportunities. So that'll do it from the Be Awesome at Facility Management podcast. Thanks again for everybody for listening, for following, for supporting, for sharing, for the 5-star rating and reviews. Keep those coming, please. That's what gives us that rating where we're in the top 10%, which is such an amazing honor. It took almost 2 years for the original Be Awesome podcast to get any sort of rating of any capacity. We're in the top 2% of podcasts. We haven't done an episode in a year. It's kind of a shame to admit that. But you have any concerns, comments, questions, anything at all? A complaint department is paul@beawesome.com, and the compliment department is josh@beawesome.com. That's why I got him. That's why I got him the email, and that's the way we like it. It works out well. If you can be anything, be awesome. Have a great day, everybody.